To lead in a world that never stops evolving, you need insights from those who are driving change. Welcome to Breakthrough Innovations, where we bring together the top leaders and innovators who are reshaping their industries. I'm JL Heather, the Principal Executive Coach at Center, and in each episode I sit down with game-changing executives who share the strategies, insights, and challenges that fuel their success. In the next 20 minutes, you'll gain practical takeaways to drive your own breakthroughs. So if you're ready to stay ahead, join us here on Breakthrough Innovations.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Innovation. With us today is Casey Fox, a seasoned data engineer and the co-founder of Techletics, a tech services company that's redefining the workforce development in IT. Techletics began with a unique partnership with Arizona State University's athletic department and has since become a driving force in building domestic IT talent. With over 12 years of experience delivering mission-critical projects, Casey has also played a pivotal role in transforming the lives of over 200 IT professionals from diverse backgrounds, including former welders, teachers, truck drivers, and retail associates. His work is a testament to how technology can open new opportunities and create meaningful change. In today's episode, we'll explore how Techletics got started, the qualities Casey looks for in successful candidates, and the evolving role of AI in the workforce development. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about the intersection of technology, education, and innovation. Casey, I think we're going to hit on some really important topics today, especially around the idea of how we help people find opportunities and grow their skill set. So I'm really excited to dive in, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I think obviously there's a lot changing right now with the world, with the country. Technology is changing every single day. So this is a really important discussion to be having. I'm glad you guys are fostering the discussion.
Awesome. Let's dive right in and let's talk a little bit about Techletics and how you got started. I'm curious, what was the inspiration in this partnership with Arizona State University, the athletic department there? How did that influence you and shape the early days of Techletics?
Yeah. So I got into tech 20 years ago, I guess at this point. I was a business major out of school, and then got an opportunity to get into business intelligence. Really didn't even know what business intelligence was at the time.
Almost an oxymoron at times.
Yeah. I had no idea really, what was going into it. And I did a boot camp, and back at that time, I don't even think it was called a boot camp, right? But that's what it was. And I went through a training course, and 3 months later, I came out and I got put on a project that was nothing like what I trained on, right? And I was like, okay, well, that was fun, I guess. But now I got to restart and get up to speed and put in 100-hour weeks and things like that, right, to try to make myself successful. But, I spent a lot of time with it, worked in a lot of different industries coming in. And then my partner is a guy named Dan Jones, and he played football at Arizona State for a coach that was there. His name's on the field. It's called Frank Cush Field. And they were having lunch one day, and the topic came up of figuring out a way to give football players careers in IT. And I was in Denver at the time, and Dan called me up and said, hey, I'm having lunch with Frank Cush here. And so I think we need to get you down to Phoenix and figure out a way to turn football players into coders. That's how the discussion first started, right?
Nice.
And so we went down, we started putting this course together, and that's how we got the name Techletics, right? Our first partnership was with Arizona State's athletic department, and it was bringing not just football, but, soccer players and wrestlers and volleyball players, you name it, into the program, and then trying to build them into IT careers. We kind of started off as a boot camp also, but our point was, and this is going back into the first part of your question there, was I felt a lot of pain coming into this, right? I had to put myself through a lot of pain. The thought was, well, how can we do this? Is there a way that we can take people from 0 to 100 without making them feel all that pain? I think a little bit of pain is good, right? That's how you learn. That's how you get better. But is there a happy medium where they don't have to forego sleeping, right? For instance, to be able to do it. And that's how we started. We started it as a boot camp, but the difference was it was specifically tailored to the customer that we were working with.
Yeah.
And we went through a federal program. It was called WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. And it was to teach skilled labor to people that were underemployed or underemployed, you name it. And we did. So we had a training course for a big financial company that was to build web developers, essentially. And these people went through the course and we ran it like a project. That was the difference. It wasn't like training or classwork necessarily. It was just like they were doing the work. We had scrum masters and everything coming through.
Nice.
And we got about a month into this. And I can remember calling up Dan and I said, hey, this is working. I said, these guys, they're in here. They're not only are they doing what they're supposed to be in this, they're building code. And the only point is we're wasting time because instead of them working on widgets or whatever it is that I've got them building in this, they could be providing real value to a real customer right now. And that's what we ixnayed the boot camp and we said, let's give them some crash course training, but then let's give them good leaders and mentors and pair them up together and just get them in there working. Right.
Yeah.
That's what we are today. So
that's awesome. Now, Casey, here's maybe the most important question, given your involvement with their athletic department. Which sport has the smartest players?
Whoa, boy, that's a dangerous game, especially when you're dealing with athletes. Most of them can beat me up, right? So I don't.
Yeah, it might be better if you don't answer.
Pick sides.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I didn't know how well it would work.
Yeah.
Coming in and thinking about from that because I came from, I was a business major, right? So it's not like I grown up and, had 4 years of hardcore dedicated hardware and software learning. I had some, right? But not a ton. But, the thought was, okay, we're going to build software engineers, data engineers, everything, cybersecurity engineers, out of people that have really never given a thought to getting into the tech space. How is it going to work?
Right.
And it wasn't what it really turned out is it didn't really think about the intangibles that were coming with athletes, right? Number one, you've got work ethic, right? You've got people that come in and, hey, especially Arizona State, D1 school, right? It's one of the top athletic institutions out there. So the people had to have extremely hard work ethic to be able to get to that point in their athletic career. Right. Yeah. And the other one's teamwork, right? There's very few coding jobs out there these days where somebody sits in their cubicle and doesn't talk to anybody and cranks out code. You know what I mean?
I don't think those exist anymore.
I don't think they exist anymore. So, those two things really, in my opinion, they gave athletes a leg up, right? Coming into it. So, I don't know if I would say one specific sport is better than the others with it, but I'll tell you, athletes, and it goes with veterans too. We've hired in, we're not just athletes, right? We've got people from all over the country that do this now, and some have athletic backgrounds, some of them don't. Like I said, some are truck drivers, teachers, and the front desk associates, you name it. But we've had great success with veterans coming in because they've got those intangibles also that they've crafted. So,
and I think you just touched on something that JL and I firmly believe in, and it's suggested by adult learning theory, just how adults learn. And traditionally, we do a whole lot of presentations and lectures, and adults don't learn very well that way. We learn much better
no one learns out well that way.
Nobody does. We do much better by direct application, and the closer to real life as possible is better. I love seeing how you probably, I don't know if you did it intentionally, but how you've applied this, how do humans actually learn, into your program. And I love that you're seeing the great results from it.
Yeah, it's such a, like I said, this has been kind of the second half of my career so far, has been focused on this. And I've always loved it. I always say, right, like you get, whatever you do, you're going to spend a third of your life doing it. So why would you spend any time doing something you don't love doing? So I love coding. I love working with people to build code. I like the challenges involved with it. But man, the gratification that you get from this of helping to provide a career in IT to somebody that just needs a shot is an incredible feeling to bring it. And, you're talking, so the other thing you said there is about how people learn and, some of the things that we look for, right? When we're bringing some of these people into it. And why the athletes kind of shifted how we screen people, how we bring people in on some of these things is when I'm looking for people, right? I'm to the point where I'm looking for the intangibles because to your point, the humans, right? We learn really well by rolling up our sleeves and getting our hands dirty and doing the work, right? We learn really well at that. And I've been doing this long enough with Techletics at this point, where across enough different kinds of technology, you name it, where we can bring the tech, right? Whatever it is, we can teach somebody the tech. I cannot. I've never figured it out. Maybe someday we'll get there, but I've never figured out how I can teach somebody to wake up in the morning and be excited that they're going to work on technology that day. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think you're kind of hitting on something. Those intangibles, they are not fixed traits, right? They are not something, you're not born a good team player, right? People learn how to effectively engage on teams. I think for all the people listening who are maybe questioning, man, am I the team player that Casey's looking for? Do I have these intangibles Casey's looking for? The reality is, if you don't, that's something you can change, right? It's that growth mindset that I think you're really looking for. And one of the first places that growth mindset manifests in people is in their ability to work on a team and in their ability to put forth the effort. That said, I'm curious, you spent a lot of time growing talent. And I'm curious about the way we balance time producing versus growing. And how do you strike that balance?
Yeah. I think a lot of the time when we kick off a new project, right? Typically the way it works is we'll go talk to a customer and they want to build a data warehouse in AWS, right? And we'll say, okay, here's how we're going to do it. Here's the resource breakdown we're going to bring in to make it successful. We're going to do it. We're going to go find some people that are hungry and motivated to come in there and be successful. And there's going to be some growing pains in this, right? We're going to have to get some people knowledgeable. We're going to have to take them through some training. We're going to have to provide some coaching opportunities to make people successful. And I think number one, honest with everybody coming into it, that we're going to feel some of that, right? Everybody's going to feel some of that. But also, once upon a time, like I said, when we first started this and we built people through, I said, we worked with a financial institution. We built web developers. Well, we got done with that training course and we kind of dumped them off at the doorstep and said, here you go, trained them. Yeah, now it's your job to make them successful. And the thing was, even though we had trained them specifically on what that customer was working on, they're still onboarding and they're still growing and learning that they're going to do there. And the problem is the customer, everybody at the business, it's not like they got hired to spend 80% of their time doing their work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're already 100% filled. They don't have the time to come in and be the mentor to help these people get up to speed. Unless you're going to tell them they're going to spend now 130% of their time doing it, and they're going to get burned out. They're going to be angry. So we bring in mentors, leaders to help guide the success in that. And I always say, when I came in, there were senior developers, there's junior developers, right? There's no difference now. But the difference in our model is, instead of your seniors saying they're working on senior stuff and your juniors, when I came in, right, I kind of sat in the corner with the broom and, nobody was going to get too upset if something broke that I was working on. The difference is we put the juniors in more complex stuff faster, where they're going to get some visibility. They're going to feel a little bit of that pain where they've got to get an expedited growth going on this. But the seniors we bring in, to your question about how do we drive deliverables instead of just the growth of the developers, is those seniors are laser focused on making sure that those developers are producing at the level that the customer expects coming out of this. So, we'll do enterprise grade projects just in line with any of the big four consulting companies that are out there. We do it at a fraction of the price because we've kind of flipped the model and we say, our seniors are going to guide success. Our juniors are super hungry and they're going to put in whatever kind of work it needs to be successful. And what you end up with is a really powerful team, to build out whatever it is that you're trying to do.
That's cool.
Well, I really like that you're talking about, one, creating the expectation of discomfort or like small failures, right? That creates safety to try, because people are like, oh, no, we expected this. It's okay that this happened. Keep trying. Like, that level of safety is huge for growth. I love that. And then I also like the idea that you have given companies a way to create capacity for mentorship and growing of people. Because you're right. So many companies, that's the above 100% work that people, they skip it first. That said, we do have to start heading towards wrapping up. Before we do, what's your one piece of advice for leaders looking to foster more innovation and create more opportunities for people who don't necessarily have that IT background?
Well, hey, number one, give us a shot to come in and help out with that, right?
Absolutely.
Sure. We do it all the time where like I said, we've got enterprise projects, mission critical enterprise projects where we bring people in. It's about bringing in the right components to make people successful doing that. But also something that you hit on was, a lot of the times, like I said, we'll bring the tech. We can bring the tech to whatever it is. I don't know how to bring work ethic, and I don't know how to bring enthusiasm into it. There's one other piece that is subject expertise, right? Subject matter experts coming into it. And, sometimes customers or sometimes leaders need to look at, hey, they want to get into this new kind of technology. They need to modernize whatever this framework is. You've got at your organization, whatever your legacy framework is, right? Say you're running on this old system, you've got people in there that know your business inside and out. Yeah. So, maybe that's it also. Instead of having to put a rec out there and look for somebody that's $200, $300 an hour to do something, hey, there's realistically, you can probably pick out a couple of people that have those intangibles to be successful in your own organization right now. So give them some training, give them some opportunity to be successful, and they can probably retrain themselves, retool themselves into what you're looking for right there.
I love that. I love that.
Such a good perspective on the potential of humans. We can grow and we can change.
Yeah. And the
so Casey,
AI, right?
Oh yeah.
Anybody that's looking for any kind of leg up, AI is not perfect and it's going to make mistakes, but so isn't Google, right? Like if you're going to go and Google something, there's a very good chance that Google doesn't return you what you're looking for, thinking outside the box. But there's a lot of tools out there that can make people successful at a lot quicker pace. People should look at that angle too.
Casey, this has been fantastic. I really, really appreciate your perspective on this and how to grow people and get people into these roles that maybe they didn't think they had an opportunity to be in. So thank you so much. For everyone else who's been listening all the way to the end, I want to thank you as well. Hopefully you found value in today's podcast. So consider leaving a like and a reference or a review. Apologies there. And if you know anyone who is looking to develop some non-traditional IT talent or maybe needs some help bringing in some of that talent, send them this episode, introduce them to Casey, and let's start sharing the value. Also, remember to take something from today, apply it, and then let us know how it goes. We're firm believers in continuous improvement, and we'd love to hear how you're continuously improving as well. That said, Casey, thanks again. Everyone who's listening, thanks again, and we'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovation.
Thank you.